Hi everyone, this is Surya. Welcome back to another video on IELTS Writing Task 1. In this video, we are going to focus on how to describe tables, a common question type in the IELTS academic exam. If you have been following the channel, you might have already watched my videos on describing line graphs and bar charts. If not, I have added the links to those videos in the description below. Make sure to check them out after this lesson. In this video, I'll walk you through a model table, highlight useful vocabulary, and show you how to organize your response clearly and effectively. So let's get started. Before we jump into analyzing the data, let's follow the first step. Read the question carefully and identify the key trends. This will help you understand what the task is asking you to do. Next, look at the table and observe the data. Don't analyze it yet. Just focus on understanding what is being presented. Now, have a look at this bar graph. It shows exactly the same information as the table. As you can see, the way the data is presented is different, but your approach to describing it remains the same. Whether it is a static table or a static bar chart, the writing strategy doesn't change. Now that we understand what the data shows and how it is presented, let's now look at how to write the introduction by paraphrasing the question. Now that we have seen the table and the bar graph, you might be tempted to start analyzing the data. And that's exactly what many candidates do in the real test. They read the question, observe the main trends, and then begin writing. But in this video, we are going to take a more structured approach. We'll build the response step by step, starting with the introduction. That way, you'll clearly see how to write each part of your answer. So the first step in your Task 1 response is to write an introduction by paraphrasing the question. Here is the original task prompt. The first thing to remember when writing your introduction is to avoid copying directly from the question. Instead, try to paraphrase it. Let's look at a model paraphrased version. The table compares 6 major languages in terms of their number of native speakers, additional language users, and total number of speakers worldwide. Notice how we have changed both the vocabulary and sentence structure. For example, instead of saying gives information about, we have used compares. We have also expanded the scope by mentioning all 3 categories: native speakers, additional language users, and total speakers. This kind of paraphrasing shows the examiner that you understand the task and helps improve your lexical resource score. Let's now move on to the overview, where we summarize the key features of the data. Now that we have paraphrased the question, the next step is to write the overview. This paragraph summarizes the most important trends or features in the data, without giving any specific numbers. Because this is a static data task, one important rule to remember is this: always include the extremes, both the highest and the lowest values in your overview. Examiners specifically look for this when assessing task achievement. So, what should we look for? First, the language with the highest total number of speakers. That's clearly Mandarin Chinese, driven by its huge native-speaking population. Next, English stands out for a different reason. It has the most additional language users, over 600 million, which makes it the most widely spoken second language in the table. Finally, we should include the language with the lowest total number of speakers, Portuguese. It has a relatively small number of both native and additional users. Now, based on these observations, here is how we can write the overview. Overall, Mandarin Chinese has the largest total number of speakers, primarily due to its large native-speaking population. English follows closely, driven by an exceptionally high number of additional language users, while Portuguese has the smallest total number of speakers among the 6 languages. This kind of overview is clear, focused on major trends, and meets IELTS criteria. In the next step, we'll start organizing the details and writing the body paragraphs. Once the overview is done, it's time to write the body paragraphs. These paragraphs give more detail about the data, but remember, the goal isn't to describe every number. Instead, you should group and compare the information meaningfully. A good strategy is to group similar data. Start with Mandarin and English, the 2 languages with the highest total speakers. Mandarin leads because of its large number of native users, while English stands out for its huge number of additional users, almost twice its native users. This contrast is worth highlighting. In the second paragraph, we can group Hindi and Spanish together. They have similar native speaker numbers, 370 and 350 million, but Hindi has more additional users, which results in a higher total. Then we can compare Arabic and Portuguese. Both have just over 200 million native speakers, but Arabic has slightly more additional users. Still, Portuguese ends up with the lowest total number overall. Use comparative phrases like slightly more, almost double, or in contrast to make your comparisons clearer and more effective. And don't forget to use superlatives when appropriate, such as the highest number of speakers or the smallest total. These grammar choices help show your range and accuracy, which are key IELTS scoring criteria. Next, we will look at how to write these comparisons in full sentences. Let's now look at body paragraph 1 and how it develops the key comparison between Mandarin and English. We start with a clear sentence. Mandarin Chinese dominates the list, with 900 million native speakers using it as their first language. This uses an appropriate verb, dominates, and reports the highest figure for native speakers. Next, we contrast it with the number of additional users. Although only 190 million use it as an additional language, it still holds the top position overall, exceeding 1 billion speakers. Here, the clause starting with although introduces a contrast and sets up the superlative top position overall. Then we shift to English. English ranks second with a total of 942 million speakers, but unlike Mandarin, over 600 million use it as an additional language, nearly double its native users. This sentence uses a comparison, nearly double, and highlights the significant contrast in how English is used globally. Finally, we wrap up with a clear superlative. This makes English the most widely spoken additional language among those listed. This shows a clear analysis and good use of grammatical range. Here is the complete body paragraph 1. As you can see, it brings together the ideas we discussed: key figures, meaningful comparisons, and a superlative to highlight a unique feature of English. This is the kind of clear and well-organized paragraph that can help you achieve a high band score. Now let's look at body paragraph 2. Here we group the remaining 4 languages based on similar native speaker numbers. First, we compare Hindi and Spanish. Both have around 350 to 370 million native speakers, but Hindi has more additional users, 120 million compared to 70 million for Spanish. This results in a higher total for Hindi. We can write it this way. Hindi and Spanish have comparable numbers of native speakers, 370 million and 350 million respectively. but Hindi has more additional language users with 120 million compared to 70 million for Spanish. Next, we move to Arabic and Portuguese. Both languages have a little over 200 million native speakers, but Arabic has more non-native users, 24 million compared to only 10 million for Portuguese. We can write it as Arabic and Portuguese also have similar native speakers, each with just over 200 million. However, Arabic has more additional language users than Portuguese. Finally, we highlight that Portuguese has the lowest overall total among the 6 languages. This can be written as, among all 6 languages, Portuguese has the lowest overall total at 213 million speakers. This superlative closes the paragraph with a key insight and balances the structure of our response. Now you can see the complete body paragraph too. Notice how it logically compares 2 pairs of languages and ends with a strong superlative to summarize a key insight. This paragraph is concise, clear, and fulfills the task achievement and coherence criteria, everything the examiner wants to see. This is the complete description of the table, including the introduction, overview, and both body paragraphs. You have already seen how each part was developed step by step. Now take a moment to pause the video and read the full response as a whole. Let's conclude with a quick summary of the key tips for describing tables in IELTS Writing Task 1. Start by understanding the question and identifying the key features. Paraphrase the task in your introduction. And write an overview that focuses on the most important trends, usually the highest and lowest values. In your body paragraphs, group similar data logically and use comparative and superlative forms to highlight differences. And remember, you don't need to describe every number. Focus on the comparisons that matter most. Thank you so much for watching this video on how to describe tables in IELTS Writing Task 1. Keep practicing regularly and try applying these techniques to different types of table questions. I hope you found it useful. If you did, like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. In the description box below, you will find links to our lessons on line graphs and bar charts to help you master all types of Task 1 questions. Stay tuned for upcoming videos where we will cover both Task 1 and Task 2 questions in more detail. Good luck with your IELTS preparation and see you in the next video.